This is macOS Ken.
Weird words around wearables, public OS betas and tiny updates, and a mindfulness challenge to stress you out. It is Wednesday, the 8th of October, 2025. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from macOS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Clean My Mac, now with Cloud Cleanup. Try it free for 7 days and use code macOSKen20 for 20% off at clnmy.com/macOSken. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSken. An interesting bit of news from a circular set of sources. Apple 3.0 posted part of a Nikkei piece on Tuesday that had counterpoint research saying smartwatches from Huawei have overtaken Apple Watch for the first time ever. According to Nikkei, global smartwatch shipments in the April to June period rose 8% year-on-year to 34.4 million units, according to counterpoint research. Huawei saw a 53% increase to around 7.2 million units, taking the top spot for the first time with a 21% global market share. Now, checking Counterpoint only yields 3 paragraphs, one of which was the one I just read from Nikkei. If you click to read more, it takes you to the Nikkei report, which is weird. One of the paragraphs from Counterpoint points out Huawei's prices are a reason for the popularity. The average price of its smartwatches is $227, roughly half the average $413 price of Apple Watches, according to Counterpoint research. That paragraph is also in the Nikkei piece, verbatim. Kind of makes you wonder who is being quoted by whom, and maybe more importantly, who did the actual research? While NikkeiPoint puts Huawei's recent win down to price, Apple 3.0's Philip Elmer DeWitt points out that Huawei has also put some star power behind its wearables. Japanese actor and singer Takuya Kimura became a Huawei brand ambassador back in April. It might also be worth noting the April to June time period puts people closer to the release of the next Apple Watch than the most recent one. It's almost like it might be more than one thing. Anyway, for the second quarter, Apple Watch played second fiddle to Huawei. As day follows night, so do public betas follow developer betas through Apple land. I told you yesterday of a slew of developer betas seeded. Now a piece from Mac Rumors says those have all been made available to public testers, save one. Apple on Tuesday seeded the second public betas of iOS, iPadOS, macOS, watchOS, and tvOS 26.1 to its public testing people. Left out of the mix was visionOS 26.1. That's because Apple doesn't do the public testing thing for the headset. The rest of them, though, are waiting. If you're in the program, you know what time it is. If you're not and want to test the limits of testing fun, opportunity awaits at beta.apple.com. Once again, software fun was not limited to OS betas only. Mac Rumors ran a piece Tuesday that had Apple updating firmware for its hearables. The company released a firmware update for AirPods Pro 3, AirPods Pro 2, and AirPods 4. No new features are or were anticipated, but the last update bringing better audio quality for phone calls and video calls and studio quality audio recording for interviews. Mac Rumors figures Tuesday's update may have been a stability improving bug hunter. To install the new firmware, the piece suggests users make sure your AirPods are in range of your iPhone, iPad, or Mac. Put your AirPods in the charging case and connect the charging case to power. Keep the case closed and wait at least 30 minutes for the firmware update to install. News of one more update from Apple. No user participation required. 9to5Mac says it looks like the company has rolled out a server-side fix for iPhone 17 and iPhone Air units that weren't able to download Apple Intelligence models. According to a piece last week from Mac Rumors, a small number of users experienced an issue that prevented Apple Intelligence from fully downloading, leaving Apple Intelligence features like Genmoji, Image Playground, writing tools, and more inaccessible. All better now, it seems. If you were affected by this problem, 9to5Mac says there is nothing you need to do. The update should automatically download in the background. You can check the status of Apple Intelligence on your iPhone by going to the Settings app and navigating to the Apple Intelligence menu. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Clean My Mac, and their new feature, Cloud Cleanup. That's the one that scans your iCloud, OneDrive, and Google Drive for space wasters, both synced and unsynced. All the scanning happens locally on your Mac, so your data stays safe. I ran it not too long ago, and holy cow, took well under 5 minutes to find nearly 600 gigabytes of large files it suggested I review for deletion. Cloud Cleanup makes getting a handle on cloud storage easier. Of course, as the name says, Clean My Mac also cleans your Mac. From user cache files to duplicate downloads, Clean My Mac helped me get more than 9 gigabytes of junk off my machine just last night. Stuff that just gathers as you live your computing life. You can try Clean My Mac for free for 7 days. Put it through its paces. Get rid of the junk. Then when you're ready to sign up, use code MacOSKen20 for 20% off at clny.com/MacOSKen. Since 2008, Clean My Mac has been helping users like us get the most out of our Macs. Now they're doing it again with Cloud Cleanup. Try it free for 7 days, then use code MacOSKen20 for 20% off at all caps, no spaces, clny.com/MacOSKen. Get tidy today. Try 7 days free and use my code MacOSKen20 for 20% off at all caps, no spaces, clny.com/MacOSKen. iPhone 17 and iPhone Air have a date in Indonesia. A release date, that is. Mac Rumors says Apple on Tuesday announced plans to launch its latest line of iPhones in about a week and a half. Pre-orders begin in Indonesia this Friday, the 10th of October. They'll land on select store shelves on the following Friday, the 17th. Apple may have a new exec in its podcasting space. 9to5Mac cites a post from Ben Mullen, media reporter for the New York Times. According to that post, NPR's podcasting strategy chief Colin Campbell is out of the public radio game and headed to Cupertino, according to 3 secret sources of Mullen's. Actually, Campbell will probably stay in LA, but be working for the Cupertino company. The piece says the Los Angeles-based Campbell was responsible for all podcast performance, growth of franchise programs, and new show development for audio and video while at NPR. Before that, he served as executive editor at Spotify's Gimlet, which used to be a thing. No word on exactly what he'll do for Apple. Of course, that makes sense since the hire is just a rumor at this point. And finally today, in through the nose and out through the mouth for the next Apple Watch fitness medal. Mac Rumors says the next Apple Watch Activity Challenge will celebrate Mindful Month on a single day. Sometime in the next day or two, Apple should pop the message to wearers of its wearable saying, on the 10th of October, let's take some time to appreciate all the ways we can care for ourselves and each other. Record 10 minutes of mindfulness or meditation with any app that adds mindful minutes to health to get this award. Mac Rumor says Mindful Month brings awareness to mental health, self-care, meditation, and mindfulness. Not to freak you out, but you're going to want to set like 8 reminders for this one so you don't miss it. Otherwise, you are going to feel like the giant loser you have always felt like, but bigger. I'm not going to be able to sleep until I get those 10 minutes. Seriously, how do you only give one day to hit the Mindful Month challenge? Kind of feels counter. macOS Ken, brought to you by me, and sponsored by Clean My Mac, now with Cloud Cleanup. Try it free for 7 days and use code macOSKen20 for 20% off at clnmy.com/macOSken. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSken. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can find me on Mastodon, macOSken at mastodon.social. You can also send me an email, info@macOSken.com. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Leonard likes this post.